The other type of equity that I've introduced was preferred equity. Preferred equity is also an ownership stake, and it comes with a contracted payout. Now, I want to take just a moment to talk about this and make it clear. Some textbooks and some instructors will talk about preferred stock, and they'll use the expression that it's stock that acts like debt. So I want to make one thing very, very clear. Preferred stock is equity. Preferred stock is an ownership stake, and it is not debt. The agreement around preferred stock gives the preferred shareholder preferential treatment and less risk than a common shareholder would have. This is why we call it preferred equity. And what this means is that we've got some sort of a contracted payout which is specified in the agreement for the share of stock. And we've got a pecking order which is established, and that is that the preferred shareholder will get that payout before a common shareholder will get any payouts. The dividend is usually expressed as a percentage of the par value of the stock. For example, 5% preferred stock with a $10 par value would have an annual dividend of 5% of that $10 par value, so it would be a 50-cent annual dividend. The reason that preferred stock usually is expressed as a percentage of the par value is this. If stock ever splits, the par value is going to also split. If our 5% preferred stock had a 2-for-1 stock split, you would still own the same percentage of that preferred stock. You would still get a 5% dividend on each share of preferred stock, but you would suddenly own twice as many shares with half the par value. The value of your holding would not have changed, but the par value of each share would have gone down. So by keeping that set at a percentage rather than a stated dollar figure, we're able to maintain the agreement with a certain semblance of balance. If we didn't have that percentage, then each share would still be getting a 50-cent dividend, and the value of the stock would have increased as a result of the number of shares going up, but the dividend remaining the same dollar figure. Now, because this is a percent of the par value, what this means for us is that the dividend does not grow. And because the dividend is a stream of cash flows we're not expecting to end, we're going to use our perpetuity formula to value preferred stock. With zero growth, we can use the simplest form of it. So here's an example problem. XYZ company stock, company preferred stock, has a $3 dividend, and investors require a 9% return for this preferred equity. What is the market price? Well, the dividend is stated at $3, so D0 was $3, D1 is also going to be $3 because we know there's no growth involved in that. $3 divided by 9%, divided by 0.09, is going to be $33.33, which is going to be the price that you'd be willing to pay for a share of XYZ company preferred stock. A few more things about preferred stock. Remember, the dividend does not grow. Preferred stock is always going to be a zero growth dividend. Number two, that dividend is going to be computed based on the par value, but don't confuse the par value with the market price. When we're making our computation around prices and yields for preferred stock, it's the market price that we're interested in. And the par value is only used to help us determine how many dollars that dividend is going to be. Flotation of preferred stock is very, very similar to the flotation of common stock. It involves lawyers, it involves investment bankers, it involves placement with a primary market before it's available for resale on the secondary market. But it tends to be used for some very specific purposes. The author of the book tends to focus a lot on preferred stock, and in all of the financial examples where he shows it having a significant percentage of the equity value. This is really just not realistic. Most companies have very little, if any, preferred stock. There are a large number of companies that have none, and there are a large number of companies which have a minuscule percentage of their equity represented by preferred stock. The use of preferred stock is usually for one of several things. Either first, to give additional protection to an early stage investor, somebody who's making an investment in what is still a high-risk venture, such as a startup company. They might insist on preferred stock in order to give themselves less risk. It puts them further up in the pecking order than common shareholders. And in the event the company is successful, it gives them a contracted payout amount. Now, the dividend payout on a share of preferred stock is not guaranteed to happen. Merely that if it does happen, it will be sized according to what the details say, and that it will get paid out before any common shareholders get their payouts. Another example of how preferred stock might be used would be in the case of a company making a particular deal with another company, for example, an acquisition deal. If you are going to be merging with another company. You might be given preferred stock in exchange for your ownership of your existing company. So preferred stock might be something used to entice an investor, again, to take on a special situation. In this case, not a startup venture, but a merger with another company.